How to analyze deals to see if they're even wholesalable or even viable. To do this, to iron this out real quick, is to get a hold of them, usually with a phone call that low. But the reality is that with construction costs and where those things are, remember that I think a lot of time is wasted underwriting deals when really the best thing to do is get a hold of the seller. Always remember that you need to make sure the deal is even viable before you spend a lot of time. Guys, when you're underwriting deals and talking to sellers, a lot of people make the mistake doing a lot of research on stuff and putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into properties where you may not even know if the seller even wants to sell that bad or can or even want to sell at a price that you want. The best thing to do this, to iron this out real quick, is to get a hold of them, usually with a phone call, and simply ask, hey, what do you want for the property? Now, they're going to give you a price, at least in our market, which is Kansas City or the Midwest, where most houses that we're doing are somewhere between that $150,000 to $300,000 ARV. Pretty much almost all these deals we're going to have to buy at our purchase price at 40 to 50% of ARV. So if a property is $200,000, my initial offer is going to probably be $80,000 for that property. That's a long ways off. And so again, most leads and deals that you work on, they won't work because most people can't or don't want to sell that low. But the reality is that with construction costs and where those things are, generally that's the kind of range that your price has to be at in order to get that deal moved. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't see a lot of deals that are locked up much higher than that. Generally, those are bad deals and probably won't sell. But guys, if you want a quick and dirty way to throw an offer or a ballpark range at a seller just to even see if they're even interested in coming down, you can simply go on Zillow, whatever the Zillow price is, calculate 40% of that or 40 to 50% and simply offer the seller that range as a price. So say they wanted, $200,000 for that, or that the house is worth $200,000 all fixed up, you can say, hey, would you consider an offer between an $80,000 to $100,000 range? And you can do this very quickly over the phone. You don't need to go see the property. You don't need to go and do all this rigmarole, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you have all this information, because if they are not willing to come down on the price to what a level that you need, it's really not worth taking the time out to go and see the property and do all this stuff. So guys, remember that I think a lot of time is wasted underwriting deals when really the best thing to do is get a hold of the seller first and foremost, because without that conversation, nothing really can happen, and making sure that they have enough equity or the price is right to where it's going to even be worth looking at for you. For example, we had a deal where the seller's highly motivated, but their house is underwater, probably worth $200,000 all fixed up, but they owe $150,000 on the house and it needs $50,000 worth of work. So really it's underwater because nobody's going to buy that house and put that money into it just to have a house worth the same amount. Now they may take it sub 2, but even then they're going to have to put a lot of money into that deal, probably $10,000 to catch it up, plus $50,000 in repairs. So maybe somebody would want that, but more than likely it's just a bad deal, and unfortunately there's not a lot anyone can do with it. So if a seller owes too much for it even to make sense for you, really the only options for that are to take it sub 2 or short sell the house. If they just simply owe too much, the house is underwater, there's really just not a lot that you can do out of that deal. But guys, always remember that you need to make sure the deal is even viable before you spend a lot of time, going out, looking at the property, all that sort of thing. Now, if you know the seller is highly motivated, maybe they won't give you a price, but if you know they have equity, there's high motivation, it's always worth going to that appointment anyway if those things are in place. But if it's just a run-of-the-mill seller that may not be very motivated, guys, see if they're even interested in selling at a price that makes sense, because a lot of people that say they're interested in selling, they'll give you a price like the Zillow price or a number higher than Zillow, and that's really just, they're not that interested in selling. They're just throwing numbers out there to basically blow you off, and you're going to take that information like, oh, this is a motivated lead. But honestly, when it comes down to it, they're probably not going to want to sell anyway. They're just giving you a number to get you to go away. Guys, if you want more tips and tricks on how to find motivated sellers and how to do all that stuff, go ahead and like and subscribe, guys. Check out more videos up here. And with that, guys, I will see you in the next video.